A lot of chatter about the reason Doc was fired from the Clippers was his refusal to play Zubac over Harrell, especially in the playoffs. And now a lot of people are saying this is going to happen again. That same kind of, refusing to play, Reed or Bassey for Harrell is going to come over to Philadelphia now with Doc. Is this something we should be actually worried about, as some Sixers fans really are, even before the season starts? Or should Harrell have a short lease in order to keep developing Paul Reed and Charles Bassey?
I feel this. I think the main reason that fans or people will get on Doc is if the team doesn't win. That's what, to me, it's going to come down to. So I think you do what helps the team win. I don't think that he'll be locked into any big outside of Joel. I think that's what it'll come down to. He'll be locked into him and overextend his minutes and monitor his minutes, whatever's needed in order for him to be most successful. I think Harrell will get the first bunch of minutes, but I think he'll still have to produce to maintain that. I do not see a situation where if he's not producing the way that I'm sure that he wants to and the team wants him to, I don't think there will be any hesitation in making a change. So I don't see a lingering issue here, because I think the expectations on this team was already here before he arrived.
Yeah, Teja, what camp do you fall into on this one? Are you one of these anti-Harrell signing guys?
No, definitely not anti-Harrell. It's funny too, because when we were talking so long about, we brought up Cousins, we brought up who did we bring up, Whiteside over the past couple of months. We kind of just forgot about Harrell because of the charges. But if he was just there, everyone's fans would be saying, "Why aren't you signing him? Why aren't you signing him?" So it worked out. I agree. Best player plays, man. This isn't the process Sixers anymore. We need to stop getting so attached to these young guys that we treat like our children at a little baseball game. Like, Reed and Bassey need to prove they deserve minutes, and we can't just give them precious time on the floor because we want to see our guy develop. Like, Harrell's a superior player. I don't think anyone can argue that, right? And I'll tell you what, too. I thought of this recently. Harden just played with Bassey in those pickup games we talked about, 4 weeks ago. 2 weeks later, he's campaigning and recruiting Harrell. I think he got a good look at Bassey, and I think he saw kid can play, but we're championship running right now. We're not developing for the future. Let's get Harrell. Bassey can, he's all right, but we need to do this is now. Or my window's now, our window's now. Joel, Harden, pretty much same timeline, more or less. If Embiid can, break through some of these injury problems, he can play longer, obviously, but they're pretty close in windows at this point. I trust Harden's eyes on the court. I trust that he thinks Bassey's not there yet. And I know I'm not having talked about Reed, but I'm not going to lose sleep in September about playoff minutes. Let's get there first. I'm not going to cry about who's going to play more right now. If that's a problem, then, and it's obvious that Harrell is a problem and he needs less minutes, so we can cry and complain about it. We'll cry and complain about it right on the show, actually. But to worry about it now is foolish, especially when we know Embiid will probably miss 10 to 15 games. And what's Harrell going to average starting in that position? 15 and 10. I'm not going to complain about that either. So I think it's totally fine. I'm a huge fan of the signing, and I'm not going to worry about the playoffs yet.
Eric, do you feel the same way where, if the fact that Harden was campaigning to sign Harrell, do you think, and we talked about him working out with Bassey this offseason, do you think maybe he saw something with Bassey? He's like, okay, maybe he's not ready to be the full-on backup five?
No, I don't think he saw something with Bassey that made him, want Harrell to come aboard. I think he wanted Harrell to come aboard because he felt like he was a solid player that could help the team. I think it's just that. And I think that along with, the organization that felt that way, that's why, he was signed.
Yeah.
And he did it. And, I guess, some of the charges that he had probably hurt his pay. But I would assume, and I'm sure Teja knows the numbers better than I do, but I would assume that he would have got paid more if he was without the charges. So if you get a guy that's, probably, not probably, but his talent's above his pay rate, that's definitely a plus.
Amazing.
Experience with the coach. Current players are plugging for him. I think it helps. And so, hopefully it helps into, translating more wins and more effectiveness for us. But it was definitely worth, the risk, if people want to call it a risk. I think it was definitely worth it.
I think it's very low risk for the money. I think it's great. I mean, he totally falls into the whole Dwight Howard, Drummond area for me. Younger, even younger.
Yeah.
Well, and plus it's like, we talked about we need more dogs out there. We got PJ Tucker. We ended up getting him. That's another dog, and I can't wait to see those two in a lineup together. But if people talk about Doc, with having this kind of like this love for Harrell in LA. I mean, it seems that Harden was the one pushing for him. It wasn't even Doc, so it's like Harden was the one who wanted him. A different person who wanted him over here, And obviously Doc probably signed off on it and all. But the one thing I did, someone who was, siding with the signing of Trez online, he said it's like, with the LA team, it was a different scenario because Harrell was the starting 5 on that team when they were looking for rotational backup 5 minutes. Harrell's going to be getting those backup 5 minutes. I mean, he's not, especially in the playoffs where those guys don't really play that much. Maybe spots here and there, but like it's mostly going to be Embiid in the game. So I think people are getting caught up in the backup 5 minutes in a playoffs. It's silly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you want the guys that you feel can help you win games, win championships.
Mm-hmm.
I think the team has become better with his signing.
Yeah.
Now, how he's used, I mean, I think people are just, probably getting a little ahead of themselves by kind of trying to figure out how he's going to be used. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't know that. The one thing we do know is he has a runner-up MVP in front of him. Yep. So it's not going to be too many minutes, as long as Joel is healthy, that it's sort of a concern. So if it was a concern that Doc played him or wouldn't play another guy, if Joel is healthy, that concern kind of goes away because of who he is. So if you're telling me that Montrezl Harrell can come in and play 10 to 15 minutes that Joel doesn't play, I'm feeling good about my team in that position.
Yeah. I'll even take it a step further. Let's go. If you're deciding if we should sign him, Harrell, that is, let's say you're Doc and you're Maury in your room together, and you're like, if we had Harrell against the Miami when Embiid got knocked out, how much better would we have felt going into game 1 with Harrell starting at 5 against Bam instead of Reed? I mean, I would have felt way more confident, at least that we can maybe split. We were still undermanned, obviously. We're missing our MVP. But if Harrell was there, I wouldn't have felt as bad. I felt like the series was over when Embiid was out. I thought it was done. Harrell would have been a big difference. So if you can sit there and say, man, I wish we had him 3 months ago, why would you not want him? So that for me sealed it.
Yeah, that's like you said, a lot of these Sixer fans have been tied to the younger guys, like our guys kind of thing. And
yeah.
I think it is a product of the process and, kind of
really is. Guys. It's tough to shake that off when you're rooting for the Hollis Thompsons, the KJ McDaniels of the world. And you're looking for them to succeed over your own team doing well. It's like, okay, like, are you a fan of the guy or are you a fan of your team? Because I mean, you want the best guy to play, especially if it's going to be 12 to 14 minutes a game,
Yeah. Loyal fans, man. Loyal.
Yeah.